Hi and welcome to Leitrim Daily. My name is Brett Early and you're listening to the Sports Roundup show here on the podcast. It has been a busy weekend of Gaelic games as well as action in plenty of other sporting codes across the county. In Gaelic games, both of our football teams, male and female, were in action in Derry, while our hurlers also had an Ulster trip. They were a little bit closer to home in Enniskillen in Brewster Park yesterday afternoon. We have feedback and action and opinion from all of those three games. In rugby, a full card for the local sides with both Sligo and Carrick in action in both the All-Ireland League for in Sligo's case and in the Connacht Leagues in both clubs, with a mixed bag of results for both teams there. We'll get into that very, very shortly into the programme. While in soccer, Manor Rangers continued their fine form with a great victory against Glenview Stars, while Carrick Town, it took League of Ireland quality players to beat Carrick Town yesterday morning in Carrick and Shannon. We'll be talking to their manager, Jason Kavanagh, as well as two of their players, Aaron McLaughlin and Shane Byrne, later in the programme. But first, let's turn our attention to that Gaelic competitions over the weekend and the start of the National Hurling, Football and Ladies Football Leagues over the weekend was, I suppose, on most people's lips across the county. First up, we will start with that football game on Saturday evening, 5pm throw-in in Celtic Park in Derry. To say expectations were low after the defeat to Roscommon in the FBD League a couple of weeks ago would probably be an understatement. Most of the expectation around the team, not from within the team, but around the team, supporters, pundits alike, was that Leitrim were probably going to be on the end of a pretty bad beating. But that didn't happen. Terry Hyland and his charges came out of the blocks. A little bit of a slow start, but by about 5-6 minutes into the game, they settled in, and a run of scores and then a fine goal from Killian McGloin put Leitrim 1-3 to 6 points up in the first quarter hour of the game. Now, Derry came back into the match and actually ended up in the lead at half-time. A single point they took into the interval break. People weren't quite sure what side of Leitrim was going to come out in the second half, but thankfully, for everybody's sake, a very early Donald Flynn point set them on their way to just regain the lead. And despite the concession of a reasonably late goal, Leitrim led with 2 or 3 minutes to go until two late scores from Derry evened up the whole match. Leitrim left with a draw, a highly commendable draw given the circumstances. Donald Flynn black-carded late on in the game and a red card for Derry, as well as tempers boiled over a little bit, but nothing that you wouldn't expect at that stage of the game. Leitrim probably the side that should have won the game, albeit a draw, probably a fair result on the balance of play. There were periods where Leitrim really didn't get a hand near a ball. Derry controlled large spells of the game, but Leitrim's defensive, just everything was just absolutely brilliant from defence to counter-attack, and they just broke. And the clinical finishing of some of the forwards was just, from a Leitrim fan point of view, was great to see. Keith Byrne back in the Leitrim jersey. He scored 9 points, including 7 from placed balls, and a 45 in there as well. But some fantastic scores from play from Shane Moran and Donald Flynn really did help matters along. That goal, as I mentioned, from Killian McGloin, but it really was a team effort. We were trying to pick a man of the match even on the way home from the game, and today at the Hurling match, a few of us in the press box were trying to pick a man of the match, and to be honest, I couldn't really pick a man of the match because I looked at every single name on the team sheet and I thought, well, you know what, he's actually got a claim for that and he's got a claim for that. There wasn't a weak link in the team, and from a Leitrim point of view, where we know we don't have the strength and depth, and the Roscommon game 2 weeks ago proved it. It was refreshing to see that. So well done to Terry Hyland and the entire squad of players who took part in that fixture, playing or unplaying on Saturday evening. It was great to instill some of that belief back in a Leitrim jersey. Great to see it, because as we mentioned at the top of the show and as we've talked about for a couple of weeks, expectations not at their highest going into that particular round. Anyway, that's enough from me. Let's hear from some of the people involved in the game. We hear from Shane Moran, Dean McGovern and Aidan Flynn, who all took part in the game. But first, let's start with the main man, Terry Hyland, and hear what he had to say about the game. Terry Hyland, is that a point gained or a point lost tonight?
It's probably a point lost, unfortunately, isn't it? Okay, when we were leaving home, would we have been happy with a draw? Yes, we'd have liked to get something out of it, but the performance, I thought, should have given us 2 points, and unfortunately we didn't just take it.
What were your positives coming out of tonight? You defended really, really well.
Yeah, well, I work great on our honesty, and that's all I ever ask in any team I'm over, is an honesty. Because in the end of the day, anybody, has the ability to be honest and work hard, and they did tonight, and that's all you can ask for, fellas. After that, then the skill takes over, and with a little bit of patience, we probably could have won the game.
I suppose not many people, I know we spoke during the week, and not a lot of people would have given you much hope coming in tonight. This team came up from Division 4 with you last year. You played them twice, beaten twice. Is tonight kind of a marker that you've actually really improved nearly relative to where Derry were last season?
Yeah, well, look, to be fair to Derry and Rory, he's come in with a different system, and lads have to adapt to that. And sometimes the best time to get the strong teams is early on. 5 or 6 games into it, they will be more adaptive to what they want to do, and we felt we could exploit that tonight, and we almost did.
In terms of discipline, picked up a couple of yellow cards tonight, a black card at the very end, threatened to almost wreck the party. Is that an issue going forward?
Yeah, well, you look at black cards, and in the end of the day, Donald got a black card. Did he pull him down? Did the other man come down and tap him? This is the question. And look, it's tough for referees, I'll have to say. I thought maybe some of the yellow cards were, well, I don't know what they were really for, whether it was persistent fouling or what it was really. There wasn't really any bad strokes in the game that I felt deserved yellow cards.
I think I have to agree with your assessment of the black card. It looked like he got pulled over his shoulder rather than actually foul the ball himself. In terms of going forward, Cork next week, any major change to the game plan, or are you still looking at that solid defensive unit and break forward?
Yeah, well, we probably, people know me from maybe me having this. I always believe in a good foundation, and I always believe in a good solid defence. At the end of the day, if you don't let the other team score and you can get up the other end and score when you get possession, that's how you win games. I know the purists sometimes don't like it, but in the end of the day, sometimes the greatest cheers got when you cut out of a wall in the back rather than going over the bar.
2 goals conceded today as well. Any thoughts on being opened up once or twice by that Derry attack line?
Yeah, but we'll have to look at that, and we had lots of bodies in the area where the attacks come from, so sometimes lads don't close the door, and it's a case of communication. They leave it to somebody else rather than stepping across and closing the door, and we got caught on that one, and that was it. The second goal probably was an old floaty high ball. The wind held it up, and look, it was one of those, we could have won it on the breaking ball, and unfortunately they won it and it ended up in the net.
Does tonight's results, or tonight's performance in particular, change anything in your head for the league campaign ahead?
Not really. We take that's when we get into these scenarios, like a team like Leitrim, we just take every game as it is. And as was asked early on before the game started, are we here looking to consolidate, or are we here to get promotion? We're here first to try and consolidate and stay in the division, and after that, if it falls for us, great. But as long as we can go out and keep performing, the results will come for us, and this is what these lads in here have to believe, but they must keep performing.
Well, Terry, you made a long cold night and a long journey home, a lot shorter and a lot warmer for a lot of Leitrim people tonight. Well done.
Thank you.
Shane Moran must be happy with that, or is it a point won or a point lost?
I think for myself personally, it's a point loss. We did brilliantly there at the very end, kind of pull it back, held on very well, and just, I suppose I seen Aidan going through, thought there was space when there wasn't, but giving that ball away is something we've been trying not to do, and we did so brilliantly during 70 minutes that if, look what could have been if we held it on there, they could have been scoring us easily. So frustrating for myself personally, but look, the boys get absolutely everything. Nobody backed us at all before for performance, and we dug in and we gave it to them, in fairness.
On a personal note, happy to be kind of back playing county football again?
Yeah. Look, it's tough when you go back in October, November, slogging away in the gym and on the pitch running, but it's all worth it when it comes days like this. I've been 9-10 years playing with the county, and to finally get to Division 3, this is what we've always wanted for the last 9 years. So look, it's been a tough 2-3 months training. The boys have really dug in, gave it everything. A small blip against Roscommon, but definitely showed what we're capable of today.
In terms of the league going forward, that set a marker for the year, because people didn't really give you much of a chance, as you said, coming into today's game. What would people be thinking of Leitrim now when they're facing them over the next coming weeks?
I think, look, they'll start to do their homework. Like reading the reviews over this week and on the papers, everyone was tipping Derry to be thereabouts for promotion, so there's absolutely no reason why we can't be there. So look, we'll regroup tomorrow, get our recovery in, and we'll look towards Cork next weekend.
Listen, well done tonight.
Thank you very much.
Dean McGovern, thoughts after that?
It's very disappointing not to get the win, I suppose. We probably threw it away more than anything else. Like 2 very soft goals we conceded, so we're probably more disappointed than anything else.
So expectations outside of the camp weren't particularly high coming up here today. You kind of put that to right tonight.
No, listen, I suppose 2 weeks ago probably just didn't look great, but obviously we've been training hard the whole winter and stuff, and we knew it ourselves. We played Derry twice last year and there was never really too much in it, and we kind of felt we could come up here and start a league campaign fairly well with a win, but just unfortunately a few things went against us and we didn't pick up the win.
Yeah, nice couple of surgeon runs yourself. Unlucky to not get a foul at one point in the early in the second half.
Yeah, but they come, I suppose. You know what I mean? Like, probably got a few maybe easy ones. They probably got a few handy ones. You know, like I suppose it's hard for the referee to keep up with that. Like, that was fairly intense. That was probably the most intense game we probably played in the last 2 years. So, listen, it's great to be playing Division 3, and hopefully we can push on and get a few wins. Like,
does this augur well for the rest of the league campaign?
Yeah, but sure, like, you know what I mean? Just taking every game as it comes. Like, you know, you have Cork coming to Carrick next week, and obviously we'll just be targeting that, take a few days off and get back into the gym Tuesday, back training Wednesday, and then just take it from there, I suppose.
Listen, well done today.
Thanks, cheers. Thanks a million, Breffney.
Aidan Flynn, you got to be happy with that.
Actually, funny enough, the first reaction was kind of disappointment there, because you know, I thought we just kind of, we could have got over the line there and got the win. Like, you know, maybe during the week coming up to Celtic Park could have taken a draw, but just the way the game panned out, like, I thought we could have probably got over the line and taken the 2 points rather than one. But I look at it, I'm delighted with the performance of the lads. Like, you know, they were probably under a little bit of pressure from themselves, like, going into the game after the Roscommon game. So, like, look at the boys played great stuff there today, and you couldn't fault any man from 1 to 30 for the shift that was put in from all the lads today. Yeah. What
does that say about the preparation that's gone into this squad over the winter break?
Look at, like, the preparation we're doing is second to none. Like, you know, we have a serious background team of lads there, you know, and they've, you know, strength and conditioning programs and running programs, and, you know, and then we have great trainers as well in there, you know. And you know, like, in fairness, like, Terry has assembled a serious background team, so, like, I never questioned at any stage that we were conditioned, you know, to step up the level to Division 3 and play, and I think we kind of proved that tonight, that we were well able to mix it with the bigger teams. After
more than a decade in Division 4, how nice is it to be playing at a slightly higher level this season?
To be honest, I didn't play too long in Division 4. I haven't been you know, on this team for too long, you know, but it's great for Leitrim football. It's great, you know. You do see the difference in standard, even, you know, from last year, even, you know, and that's where Leitrim football needs to be. You see, it's a seriously young team, and the lads that are coming into it, you see, like, the forwards up there, Stephen, you see Darragh Rooney and Keith Byrne and them boys, and you know, they're just serious players. And then you have the 2 lads from Fermanagh coming off the bench, and then you have the likes of Ryan coming back. Like, so, like, them boys are Division 3, Division 2 footballers, Division 1 footballers, to be honest. Like, you know, they you know, some of the hardest days out is the days you're trying to mark them boys at training, like, rather than come to a match day, to be honest. So that's where they should be, like, you know, playing a Division 3 football at least.
Nearly had the chance to be the hero, the ball just didn't fall for you at the end.
Oh yeah, no, it's all a bit of a blur there, to be honest. There was a red card and a black card and a ball. Look at it, I don't know if it landed in my hand. I'd probably try to get it to Keith Byrne or Darragh Rooney or Shane Moran or some of them lads now, to be honest with you. But that's the game. Look at, sometimes they fall for you and sometimes they don't. But look, we're delighted with the performance, and we'll look forward to Cork next weekend.
And Aidan, well done. I'll let you off.
Thanks very much, Breffney. Cheers.
Now, it wasn't just the footballers who got their league campaign up and running. The Hurlers in action too. They made the shorter trip to Brewster Park in Enniskillen, and despite the ridiculous roadworks in the Northern Irish town, which just held everyone up, including the match referee, the game had to be postponed by 15 minutes. It was well into the first half by the time I reached the venue, and there were still people streaming in around me and beside me. It was an absolute nightmare to try and get across the town, and particularly across the river, to get to Brewster Park to see the game. But unfortunately, despite a fantastic second half showing, the score at half time 2-7 to 4 points, very disappointing half time result for Leitrim. But they came out of the blocks firing in the second half, and a really, really good team performance really kicked things on. And going into the last kick of the game, the last puck of the game, it was Leitrim just a point behind. After 6 minutes of injury time, Liam Moreton caught a long puck out, looked like he was fouled, but the referee gave a foul against him, and the resultant 65-metre free was put over the bar by the Fermanagh man, which meant a 2-point defeat. Rather than, had Leitrim won the free and scored, it would have been a second draw of the weekend. But all that being said, a great performance from the Hurlers. They're very disappointed with that, although it does mean that they have now a must-win for every game that's left in the competition. Their next opponents will be in Carrick and Shannon with Cavan, their next opponents, in 3 weeks' time. We're going to hear from members of their management team as well as some of the players. Liam Moreton, the captain, and Karl McDermott, who scored a monster point early in the second half, will be talking to us later in the show. But first, we're going to talk to one of their selectors, Clive Beattie. Clive Beattie, what's your thoughts on that?
We're disappointed. It was a very close game there towards the end. Now to send it off made a big change there in the second half, but also for them in the first half. You could also say refereeing decisions were a wee bit dicey. I'm looking forward to seeing the video back on it. Immensely proud of our lads. Didn't do a whole lot wrong. Fermanagh are upward as we were too. As I said, maybe a couple of refereeing decisions might have changed the game in our favour, but that's the way life to flip of the coin, you know. So
9 points out at half time, you come out fighting in that second half, and you probably just ran out of time a little bit.
We seen the first half was over, we can do nothing about it, so we focused on the second half and we done it very well. We scored the first point, we got into it, we told the guys to play the space, better balls off, and the points came. It was pretty simple, do it simple, and it turned out okay up till just towards the end. So
what in the end just kind of ran out?
Maybe fitness level might have been a tiny bit to add to it, and you could just, a couple of wee things just didn't work out, but we'll work on that in training.
What's next?
Next we have Cavan, I believe, and we'll just regroup now after this. We'll get a couple of good heavy sessions of training in, work the boys hard, and focus on the next game.
Hard luck today.
Thanks very much. Bye bye.
Liam Moreton, tough end to what ended up to be a pretty decent performance in the second half, especially.
Yeah, look, it was disappointing. I suppose we left it all to the second half. It was a bad performance from us all in the first half, I have to say. Couple of frees went against us, maybe a couple of little niggly fouls. We gave away a penalty maybe that we shouldn't have, and it left us with a lot to do in the second half, 9 points to catch up on. But I have to say, in fairness to the lads, they dug deep and we kept at it, and unfortunate there at the end. A decision or two just didn't go our way, and look, we came out on the wrong side of it, unfortunately.
I suppose late in injury time you went down, they gave a free against you for throwing the ball. Did you feel you might have a case for actually a free the opposite direction?
Definitely. Look, I don't, myself personally, I don't think I threw it. I was under pressure, I know, but look, these things happen. Can't dwell on them, but look, another day I might have got me free.
A lot of new faces in the squad this year. Is that a positive for the sport in the county going forward?
Definitely. Look, it's great to have the youth mixing in with the lads that have been there, for years. A couple of great young lads coming through just to get them developed now and into the squad, and it can only be a positive for Leitrim Hurling, so. New
management as well. How have the lads bedded you in?
Look, things seem to be clicking. Like, we're not long together. It's going to take a couple of weeks, hopefully by the end of our league campaign. We've a 3-week break now, so we'll gather ourselves next week and we'll hit the ground running. And no, I have to say things are good in the camp and everyone is getting on very well and training is going to plan. So it's definitely a positive, and we're going upwards.
Hard luck today.
Look, thanks a million.
Karl McDermott, tough game.
Yeah, disappointing game there now. Coming up to the end there, it got quite intense. We put a lot into it in the end. Our touch, our first time ball skills kind of let us down. Fitness isn't too bad. Like, Fermanagh are a good team there, and they brought a lot of intensity to that game. But just January, we're not really up to the level we want to be at the moment now, and we will take a lot from that game. But yeah, very disappointing going into the dressing room after that.
It was a big year last year. Is there a bit of a hangover from that maybe?
Not really. Like, in the dressing room there's as much drive and ambition as there ever was, but just I don't know, just slow getting off the mark there. A few boys coming back late into the panel, into the setup. Just we're really only getting the panel together now at the moment, the last few weeks training and that. But yeah, so just a wee bit rusty, all right, but hopefully now we've a 3-week break until our next game. Hopefully we can up it a lot before that Cavan game.
Very slow first half, just never really got going. The second half was much more promising. Can we see more of that going forward through the year?
Definitely. You can see just the first 20 minutes we weren't at the races at all. Just as I said, very slow start now. We were disappointed going in. 4 points on the board at half time is just not good enough at this level. Just not good enough at all. A lot of rusty ball handling errors and that. So we'll take that all with us and now really put the foot down over the next few weeks. Hopefully we still have a bit to go in this league and we can claw it back.
A moment of madness for the red card late in the game.
Yeah, it's disappointing. But sure, look, Gavin's just working like a dog. You know, in high intense situations, things like that happen. So you can't give out to him about it. He was just his head he lost the head a second, and he paid the consequences. So
it's a hard luck today. Best of luck for the rest of the league.
All right, fair play. Thanks.
And finally, in Gaelic games, the ladies footballers, they also started their league campaign with a trip to Derry. Slightly easier in hindsight, with the scoreline of 5-17 to 3 points. An absolutely massive victory for the Leitrim ladies in that particular game. Derry didn't really get out of the starting blocks at all, but Leitrim taking a lot of positives from that. Probably not much better than a decent workout or decent training session, really, in terms of the competitiveness of the fixture, but with goals coming from all over the park, from Carl Le Guin, 2 from Bron O'Rourke, Michelle Guckian and Vivian Egan, and 25 players actually getting game time in the National League. It's a great start to what will be a 6-game National League for the girls in green and gold. It's great to see them back on the field, despite being down in Division 4 because of the issues they've had in fielding teams over the years. Loads of new faces, as well as some old familiar faces back in the jersey for the first time in a couple of years. So well done to their manager Hugh Donnelly and his team for getting that whole spirit back into that team, and I suppose great work there on behalf of the county board over the last 6 or 12 months as well, to really put the foundations in place for that team to get back on an even keel. So great to see them winning, great to see them being clinical enough with that kind of margin, and the competition for places will be hotting up as that league campaign continues. They are back in action next week again, back in the county, so you'll get a chance to see them on local ground. Check out our sports preview show to find out more about that later in the week. Now, we did catch up with Hugh Donnelly after the game and to get his thoughts on how the season is looking so far. Now, Derry was a happy hunting ground for the boys on Saturday evening, but the girls on Sunday went absolutely ballistic. 5-17 to 3 points, the winning margin in their Division 4 opener against the Oakleaf County. I'm joined by their manager, Hugh Donnelly. Hugh, welcome back to the programme.
Thank you very much.
What do you learn in a game like that? 5-17 to 3 points. It's a massive scoreline.
Yes, look, it's a big scoreline, but for us today, we weren't quite sure what kind of Derry team was going to turn up. We know that they're in transition and we know that they're rebuilding. So today, I suppose after 10 or 15 minutes, we realised that that we were probably going to pull away with this with the victory. So it was an opportunity for us then to work on key aspects of our game and to work on things and that we've been doing at training.
And in terms of getting the league up and running, you played 25 girls today. It must be nice to get that bulk of the squad minutes in their legs.
Yeah, exactly. And not only that, but it gives girls experience. We went with we're carrying 40 odd girls, so it's trying to get game time and things like that. So today there was an opportunity for us to empty the bench and to give girls a run out, and as I say, the girls come on done equally as well as the girls have started, because the competition is there for places.
Has that been the key to Leitrim's success, and albeit in the first round of the league? But there's a really big momentum kind of growing in the hearts and minds of the ladies football community in the county over the last few months.
Oh, well, listen, it boils down to what the girls have put into it. The girls have bought into it till date, and they're working really hard. They're doing the hard yards. They're doing their programs. So all in all, it's they're driving this. All I have done, and my backroom team have done, I've tried to put structures in place and trying to put the proper as I say, structures and offer that reassurance and stability. And as I say, the girls are driving this themselves, so it makes our job as a management team that little bit easier.
A lot of returning faces to the squad, the likes of Sarah McLaughlin, to name but one. There's plenty more girls. Emma McGovern, another one from Ballinamore, who's back in the fold, as well as a couple of youngsters coming through, the likes of Shiva Quinn and Jasmine May coming up from the youngsters. How is the ladies football looking for the season ahead, and I suppose the league campaign, are you now the favourites to win Division 4?
Listen, at this stage, I'm not buying into any of that. What we're trying to do is, as I said, give girls experience, and it's a case of putting down the foundation blocks and slowly building momentum. And for us to do that, it's going to take all hands on deck. And we have, as you mentioned there, some of the more experienced players. We have young girls coming through. And we use today just as an example of giving some of them younger girls experience. So, as I said, we're going to need that mix of youth and experience. And listen, we take care of ourselves and we focus on ourselves, and we'll focus on each training session and each game at the weekend, and we'll take it one step at a time.
I suppose when you look down to a Leitrim team and you don't see Anya Heslin on it or her sister, the two Heslins on the bench today, is there any particular reason for that, or just not selected?
It's simply that we were given game time to as many squad members as we can. As I said, we were going with a balance of youth and experience, and we knew that with the ladies football you have unlimited subs, so I knew, depending on how the game was going, I had a fair idea that we could probably empty a good bit of the bench as well. So, it's competition for places, and it's a case of everybody has to work hard. You have to earn your spot, and as I said, it's so far it's been worthwhile.
Does this change anything about your preparations going into the rest of the league games?
Sure. Yeah, no, not at all. What we have got to do now is, what I have to do this evening is go back and reflect on today's game and put together the positives. And also pick out a few of the key elements that we need to work on at training this week and the following week. And we are now mentally prepared now, or going to mentally prepare for Antrim and what they bring. Obviously beat them on Sunday. So look, it's a case of sitting down now and analysing the game and putting the relevant plans into place for this week's training.
I suppose last time we spoke, you mentioned there was 41 girls on your training squad and on your list. Will you keep that size of a squad the whole way through the season, or will you cut it back?
No, well, we have no plans to cut anything at the minute, and the reason, two particular reasons. Number one, it's an opportunity for players to get inter-county experience, and number two, then you have the developmental side of things where players have an opportunity to develop in the inter-county scene and get the feel of it and know what's involved and the dedication that's probably needed. So for the short term, absolutely not. I'm more than happy with carrying what we have. The girls are more than happy as well with the numbers, and we've talked about this and agreed with them as a squad. So it's as I said, it bells fed for training games and for training itself and the competition for places.
Well, listen, Hugh, well done today. Despite it probably being a bit of a mismatch, it's great to see a Leitrim side coming out like that, because sometimes we get accused of not being clinical enough. So you've obviously brought that to the table as the manager of the ladies football team. Well done today, and the best of luck for the rest of the league's campaign.
Thank you very much.
In rugby, there were 3 local games of interest at adult level. In the All-Ireland League Division 2B, Sligo missed out by a last-minute penalty to lose by a single point, 14 points to 15. They were beaten by Malahide in Hamilton Park in a disappointing result for Sligo. They would have been targeting all 4 points from that particular fixture, but they do get a losing bonus point, but not enough to continue their fine form over the last few weeks. Disappointing to lose in such a manner so late in the game. Their second team also defeated this weekend in the Junior 1A in Connacht. They were beaten 17 points to 10 by Westport, while in Junior 1C, Carrick and Shannon had a fabulous victory, 36 points to 7 over Tuam, away in Tuam. So always a good result when you go to Galway and come back with the win in the bag. So that's Sligo having a relatively disappointing weekend by their standards. Carrick, they'll be on cloud 9 after the weekend's action. In soccer, plenty of action happening at a local level as well. Both of the Leitrim teams at home at adult level. In the Super League, in the Sligo Leitrim District League, it was all manor Rangers. 6-1 winners over Glenview Stars, with Robbie Cunningham, that guy again, popping up with 3 goals, a hat-trick as early as the first hour, while Shane Walsh, Seamus Ryder and Paddy Wolfe added a single strike each in that 6-1 victory, which keeps them in touch at the top of the table. This week, Cartron drew 0-0 with Strand Celtic on Friday evening, which meant that it does close the gap and it puts Carberry back on top of the table. But that league is really hotting up, and it'll be one to keep an eye on. And Manorhampton have really given themselves a great chance of securing a first ever Super League title in the Sligo Leitrim League. Interesting to keep that in our back of our minds as we go ahead through the rest of the league season, which will finish up sometime in April as normal. In the Premier League, Carrick Town at home to a Raf Kataro inspired Real Tubber. It's a bit surreal watching one of the legends of League of Ireland football taken to the field in the showgrounds. Not the showgrounds in Sligo, which is well normal for him, but the showgrounds on the Boyle Road in Carrick and Shannon. 2-1 the game finished to Real Tubber. They led 1-0 from the first half before a Conor McGoldrick free kick saw Carrick Town draw level, only for a late strike to seal it for the visiting side. Real Tubber, they are top of the league and they continue to stretch further and further from the teams behind them. We did catch up with a couple of the players and the manager after the game. We hear from Aaron McLaughlin, the goalkeeper, and Shane Byrne, who's been on fire for them this season. But first, let's talk to their boss, Jason Kavanagh. Jason Kavanagh, manager of Carrick Town, what's your thoughts after that game?
Look, the lads put a shift in today. We were missing a few first team players as well, so we had to sort of alternate between left backs and right backs and centre mids and strikers. But the lads who stepped up today really put a shift in, and we played well. This is a team who's fighting for the league, and we put it up to them.
You played up front yourself. How did that go for you?
It didn't go very well if I missed that sitter earlier in the game, but the keeper got a good touch on it, and I know I couldn't reach it with my good foot, so I tried to get my bad foot to it and didn't get enough of a connection.
What's the plans for the rest of the season now? Because this probably puts you out of a title hunt. Are you still in with a promotion shout?
We're still in for the promotion, yeah, but the title hunt is gone. We still have to play these again, so after that performance I'd say we'd put it up to them. We're aiming for top 3. We've always said top 3, so we're going to keep going for that. There's still a few games left, and we still have a game in hand as well, so
a couple of National League players might be missing from that squad as it gets closer to the National League season, and the transfer window ends in the mid to late February, 22nd of February I think. So if the fixtures after that, they could be without a couple of those players, Raf Kataro, Sean Kerrigan and a few others. Would you fancy your chances up in Tubbercurry in a couple of weeks?
I fancy our chances even with them players after the performance the team did today. The game finished 2-1. We pegged them back to 1-1. Should have been 2-1 to us. Even with them players we can beat them. It doesn't matter. The lads put a great shift in today. Said we were missing our left back, our right back, a left wing, a striker. If we have a full team, we would have won that game, and we would have put a shift in, and the lads did put a shift in. So it doesn't matter who we have, we'll do them next time.
Excellent. Well, listen, hard luck today. You did fight very well in that second half of the game, and hard luck and the very best luck for the rest of the season.
Cheers, thanks.
Shane Byrne, how are you feeling after that game?
A bit disappointed, definitely. We had them on the ropes there in the second half. We got the equaliser and hoped we'd push on, even nick a point or nick a win, as I should say. But they got kind of a lucky enough goal in the end, a rebound off the keeper save, Aaron McLaughlin. So a bit disappointed, but they're the league leaders, so we can take a bit of heart from the performance all round and work into next week. We've Cartchin Celtic, so we'll try and get 3 points there and kick on. But it's a kind of a building block all year for us, to be honest. We're sitting mid-table. That team has only got together back in June, so we're only still finding our feet in the league. So we can take heart from the performance, although we didn't get the result. The performance was quite good all through the game, so happy enough with that.
Today's opponents, as you mentioned, league leaders, also have a couple of familiar faces in their ranks. Raf Kataro and Sean Kerrigan, both Sligo Rovers. I think there's a couple of other underage Sligo Rovers players in there as well. What's it like coming up against players who are playing against Galway United on Wednesday night and now playing against Carrick Town today.
Yeah, when I seen Taro warming up there at the start, we were like, we'll see what we're up against him. But in fairness, he can spread the ball around and pass the ball around. But it's good to put yourself up against players like that, in fairness, and see what they're like. But yeah, he was dictating things in the middle. We were trying to get a bit closer to him, but he's a hard man to get control of. But in fairness, we did all right, and we pushed in the end. They were kind of hanging on, to be honest with you. We were pushing for an equaliser, but just fortunately today we didn't get it. But push on now for Gertrude next week.
Listen, thanks very much for having a chat to me. Best of luck in the Sports Person of the Year award as well. Congratulations on your nomination.
Thank you.
Aaron McLaughlin, disappointed to lose that in the manner you did?
Look, the first half we weren't going too well. In the second half we really picked it up, and I'm just disappointed with the second goal, the way it went in. Just disappointed. We were on top the whole second half nearly, and I don't know what happened. They just got that shitty enough goal, and look, that's the way it goes sometimes.
In terms of, I suppose, that goal in particular, like, you made a really good save, got down nice to your left, and then it just kind of fell at the foot of the attacker coming in.
Was no one really chasing in after it, and he was the first one to it. Probably tried to push it out a bit more, but it just didn't go the way I wanted. It's hard to sometimes push them out like that.
We used to hearing about you on the Gaelic fields of the county. What's it like been playing soccer for the winter?
It's nice. It's nice. Different, like something different every for the winter, like keeps you at something. Like it's nice to be out for the weekend. I just winning goals for this winter, I just kind of like it. It's enjoyable. Like soccer's just enjoyable. It's not as serious, but still take it fairly serious. Like it's nice, different pace. Like
you come out a couple of times at the feet of attackers. You don't seem to lack bravery anyway.
So one of these days it'll get me killed. Now I got a bit of a kick in the head there. Second week in a row. I'll feel it one of these days. Got nailed there 2 weeks ago, but I'll get over it. It's good for the Gaelic anyway, getting a few hits in anyway. Someone has to do it.
We've spoken to a few of the lads who play both sports, and over the last couple of weeks on the show, a lot of lads, they have one preference. Would Gaelic be your first choice? Is it just kind of an off-season kind of fitness keeper-upper?
Yeah, Gaelic's always your first preference. Like I used to play loads of sports. I love hurling as well. Like I'd often play that too. But sadly, I play for Ballamore. But sadly, we don't have a team anymore. But Gaelic's always going to be the number one anyway, no matter what. It's especially for Fermanagh, because that's your own club. Like it's nice to play for Carrick for the soccer anyway. I used to play for Abbey Rovers in Ballamore, but Gaelic's always going to be number one for me anyway.
Yeah, so in terms of the rest of the season, will you be involved through the season even when this Gaelic kicks back in again?
Yeah, we've 4 games left, I'm pretty sure. So and then 4 weeks left in this anyway. I'll try and commit as much as I can, but I think 22nd of February there's the league starting for teams without county players. So I'll have to, hopefully they'll be on Saturdays. Hopefully I can stay with Carrick till the end of the season, and I'll take the break for the Gaelic anyway then.
Okay, well, thanks very much for having a chat with me.
No problem, thank you very much.
And that, folks, is all we have time for today. Before we sign off, congratulations to the 3 girls from Leitrim who represented Connacht at the school's Interprovincial Ladies Gaelic Football Championships this weekend, to Aisling Leahy of St Mary's, Muireann Devaney of Glencar Manor Hamilton, and Edel Shanley of Ahowillan. And well done on reaching the final, and hard luck on losing that final to Munster on Saturday afternoon. It's nice to see 3 Leitrim players stepping up to provincial grades. Congratulations to everybody who won games over the weekend, to the footballers who really put the pride back in the jersey on Saturday afternoon, to the hurlers who gave it everything on Sunday afternoon, and also to the ladies who smashed their return to league action this year, and to Manor Rangers who have just continued to steamroll through that Premier or the Super League division in the Sligo Leitrim League. Also to Carrick Rugby, who had a great victory over the weekend. Lots of things to celebrate around the county. Thank you very much for listening. I've been Breffney Early. I'll be back tomorrow. Talk to you then.